happened in two places
So
at different parts of the country.
Folks, just so you all know, we are now streaming on YouTube, and there'll be a watch party on Facebook, and we're being recorded. So from now on, don't say anything you don't want the world to hear.
Good morning, Laura.
Hi, Laura. Awesome to see you. Good morning. So today is our flower communion. So if you do not have a flower blossom with you, you want to run in and get one from your neighbor's yard. Oh, hey, oh, so pretty. Oh, let's everybody
Lots of yellow.
a preview of flowers. Everybody preview flowers if you have flowers.
Okay. Nice.
Beautiful. Oh, great. Lovely, lovely. Oh my gosh, they're all so different. This is so fascinating.
Ooh, blossoming tree, Betty.
That's great. Sydney, I'm remembering last year we were doing it a little different this year. Last year we had people send in pictures with their flower and we did a montage, and it was Sydney, I remember you had flowers in your glasses. It was very dramatic.
It was the only way I could get. You had to get the person and the flower in the same picture. Well, I didn't have anybody take a picture of me. So the only way I could figure out to get me and the flowers in the same picture was to somehow put them somewhere.
Attach them.
Came up with attaching them to my glasses was the only thing I could think of. But the way we're doing it now, I simply, I picked them 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago,
Beautiful.
and put them in a vase and brought them upstairs. So
Great.
we're right here with them now.
So good morning. We want to welcome Pat and George are here. Mary, Team Wise. Yay! Everybody wave to Team Wise.
Wise.
And Ken and Betty are here. Good to have you. We are going to be starting just a minute or two with our gathering, going out into breakout rooms. Well, there we go. If you're just joining us, this is live, as you can tell, because we're goofy and making mistakes. Hi, Claire. Good morning. Good to see you. If you are in YouTube or on Facebook, we're so excited that you're with us. If you feel like you want to join us in the Zoom room, what happens in Zoom stays in Zoom, which isn't actually true because
Sort of.
everything's being streamed everywhere. But we can certainly see each other, and it's really lovely. And I just have to say again, the last couple of weeks, here is our vice president to be, Adeline. Hi there. Good
Morning.
Hi, Angelique.
Adeline's been nominated to be our incoming vice president and future board chair. I cannot tell you how excited I am to be able to work with Adeline again. We work together in Sunday services. So everybody give applause to Adeline. It's awesome. Welcome. So folks, I think we are ready to have our unofficial beginning. So good morning, buenos dias. Mi nombre es Timoteo. I'm Reverend Tim, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church here in Fresno, California. What a glorious spring morning it is here in Fresno. It's about 72 degrees right now. We'll have a high of 88, but it has just been a luscious and lovely spring. In a moment, we are going to go off into breakout rooms to just greet one another in small groups and have a little bit of time to talk. But I would just like to let you know we are in Zoom, which means this is live, which means mistakes happen. And we have given up long ago the pursuit of perfection. And we realize that what is most important is creating a container for connection and love. And I think we do that and have been doing that quite well. So I think that is, that's all I'm going to say. If you are joining us as a visitor today, we're so excited. Be sure to fill out one of the connection cards that will get posted in the chat box in Zoom. And as in a moment, Chloe's going to send us into breakout rooms. And if you could introduce yourself to whoever's there. And the question that we have to share this morning, just to kind of get to know you, is what is a favorite flower or other form of vegetation? Because we affirm the inherent worth and dignity of all vegetation, not just flowers, on our Flower Communion Sunday. So in a moment, we'll automatically go into breakout rooms for folks who are in YouTube or Zoom. Hang tight. We'll be back in a couple minutes and our service will officially begin. So Chloe, the power of the breakout room. May it begin. Hello. For folks who are joining us on Facebook and YouTube, our congregation here on Zoom is broken off into to breakout rooms. Hi, Louise.
Hello.
And Louise, everybody's in their breakout rooms right now. Hi, Jerry. We're in breakout rooms. Just happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
And I'm not sure if Chloe's going to send you off to a breakout room or not. I'm not. Yep, there you are. You're so powerful, Chloe. We are on Facebook, we are on YouTube, and we're excited that you're with us. The congregation, as I said, is off in breakout rooms discussing the question of questions. What is a favorite flower or other form of vegetation? And they'll be coming back in just a couple minutes, and we will officially start. And hi, Joya, welcome back.
So Tim, what is your favorite flower or form of vegetation?
Oh, that's a tough one. I actually have to say lilacs, because I just have childhood memories of my parents' lilac trees that they bought when they were first married, and they moved those trees to every house they ever lived in over the course of almost 60 years of marriage. So I just love spring and the scent of lilacs because it makes me think of mom and dad. How about you? Especially because your vegetation in Florida, where you came from, is so different.
It is. So I think it's a tie for me, because vegetation wise, I'm always going to pick a live oak because I have such fond memories of climbing them as a kid and doing homework in them, and the way that a big oak tree just kind of like holds you and nestles you when you're a kid. Like, that's just one of my most vivid memories. And then the other thing is jasmine, because jasmine and ligustrums grow together and they hybrid all over the South, and they just perfume the air. And when I was in college, when I would walk to Flagler from the parking garage, because I went to school in a historic college and there was no parking, so you had to walk in from the city parking lot, and that whole walk was just this thick, heavy scent of ligustrum and jasmine, starting in probably February and then all the way until September. And it's just such a wonderful one. How about you?
So for folks who are on Facebook or YouTube, just letting you know, our service will begin in a moment. The congregation in Zoom is in breakout rooms, and we're just kind of chatting about our favorite flower or vegetation. Joya, how about for you? Do you have a favorite?
I also love lilacs. We have a really large one in our backyard, and we've lived here since 1978, I think. And it blooms for so long and it smells so good. But I think I might vote for citrus flowers just because they smell so good for so long. I love that.
Yeah. Hey, Bev, happy Mother's Day to you.
Thank you.
The congregation is off in their breakout rooms. They're going to be back in about 20 seconds.
It took me a minute to figure out how to do this. So
Well, you are here. You're probably being broadcast on YouTube and Facebook right now. So as I said, don't say anything you don't want.
that's right.
Do
Hey,
you have a
Danny.
favorite flower? Deb,
Say
do you
that
have a
again?
Do you have a favorite flower?
Oh, I do sweet peas just because I was born in April.
Beautiful. Hey, Judith, good to see you.
Hello, Tim. Good to see you too.
So we're going to ask everybody to mute at this point, and our service will begin.
Good morning, everyone. As a daughter, mother, and proud grandmother, it is my joy to wish a happy Mother's Day to all women who nurture children in any way. Feliz Dia de la Madre. It is wonderful to see so many of you here in our Zoom room. And hello to those joining us on Facebook and YouTube. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Fresno. I am Darcy Williams, and I currently serve as a member of the Visioning Implementation Team and the Leadership Development Team. If you aren't currently serving our congregational gratefully in some way, I hope you will join me in sharing your time and talents with us. Remember, this church is not a spectator sport. It is a joy to be an active part of creating our beloved community. Today is our annual, well-loved, all-ages flower communion, a ritual of memory and hope. If you don't have a flower blossom with you this morning, take a second to go outside and gather one, or choose a plant or an artificial flower from inside. Perhaps you might want to just draw a quick sketch of a flower, or just create one in your imagination. We'll all need that flower later in the service. To everyone, I say welcome. Lesbian, gay, bi, trans, or non-binary, with or without documentation, no matter how much is in the bank. We are welcome here, young or old or in between. We are welcome here. No matter our differing abilities, spiritual backgrounds, religious beliefs, cultural origins, or racial identity, we are all welcome here. Todos son bienvenidos aquí. In that spirit, let us join our voices in remembering our shared mission. La misión de la Iglesia Unitaria Universalista de Fresno es amar exclusivamente, crecer espiritualmente, servir con gratitud y trabajar por la justicia. The mission of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Fresno is to love inclusively, grow spiritually, serve gratefully, and work for justice. Now, Reverend Tim has an update on the ending of our annual pledge drive. Take it away, Tim.
Thank you, Darcy. Thank you so much for your spirited welcome. I do have rather amazing news for us all. Our pledge drive has ended, and I am happy to report that we have raised just over $600,000, which is, I wish I had a drum roll, which is 100.22% of our goal. So we got more than our goal. So everybody, round of applause. We want to just thank everybody who shared so generously in the midst of all that we've been facing with the pandemic. I also just want us all to take a moment and truly thank all those who served gratefully as part of our pledge drive team this year. We want to thank Ruth J., who was our chair, Helen A., Cleo B., Paula F., Cheyenne J., Bill M., Carolyn N., Betty P., Laura R., Claire T., Tennille T., and Steve S. So thank you all. Thank you so much. And in grateful appreciation, we have a treat. We have a prelude from Soul and Thunder, followed by our chalice lighting from the always effervescent Danny.
What a dream, oh what a story, you don't have to wait. Come and enjoy a smile opening scene. Just like a doorway, there's a story in rhythm and rhyme. There is a dream on the street and in the forest, lavender dream. Whisper a poem. Cinderella, in your garden there's a shrine to the first and the last, they're all divine. One and all, big and small, come in birth. Each and every child for all their worth. Take the London that's last and make them first. Take these seeds, seed the earth. Coming along, oh what a long way we have come. Coming along, making a home for everyone. Coming along, way down south in Africa. Look at the jacaranda tree, hugging the bougainvillea. Coming along, oh what a long way we have come. Coming along, making a home for everyone. Coming along, way down south in Africa. Look at the jacaranda tree, hugging the bougainvillea. Coming along, oh what a long way we have come. Coming along, making a home for everyone.
Hola, soy Danny. Howdy friends, Danny here. Every Sunday, all across the world, Unitarian, Universalist light a chalice to begin their worship with one another. Today's chalice lighting are words adapted and inspired by Christiane Starl. We are the flowers, but also the sun that lets us bloom. May we shine bright for one another and bask in the warmth of this community. Now we join Lorenzo for today's song of praise, right here.
All we need, all we need, all we need is right here. All we need, all we need, all we need is right here. We traveled on, we traveled far to be right here. Where we are, reach out a hand, no need to fear, 'cause all we need is right here. All we need, all we need, all we need is right here. All we need, all we need. All we need is right here. The night was dark, but the day is bright. Together we can lift our eyes to all we love and we hold dear. 'Cause all we need is right here. All we need, all we need, all we need is right here. All we need, all we need, all we need is right here. All we need, all we need, all we need is right here. All we need, all we need, all we need is right here.
Amen to that. Oh, it was so wonderful to see the pictures of us in the sanctuary. That was a flower communion from 6 years ago. And it got me really excited because on the 30th of this month, some of us will be returning to live worship in the sanctuary, even as others of us watch from the safety and comfort of our own homes and participate virtually. So we will be truly a multi-platform congregation beginning on May 30th. So all we need is right here. That is a truth. It's a truth that all we need, our breath, our beating hearts, and our love. And so I invite us, as is our custom, let's take a breath in together, breathing in peace. We hold the moment, we transform it into love, and breathe out love. And again, breathing in peace. We hold it just a moment, and we breathe out love. One more time, together, breathing in peace. We hold just a moment, and we breathe out love into this world. And as we continue breathing together, each in our own way, at our own pace, at our own depth, we share 2 questions of reflection. The first, in the week that was, were there moments where you were unskillful in word or action? And because love is at the center of our Unitarian Universalist faith, our second question, will you forgive yourself and begin again in love? And so, with love in our hearts, we move into that really precious time in our service where we take a moment to share. This is our time of sharing joys, sorrows, concerns, or gratitudes. If there's something moving in your heart and mind, something alive for you today, I invite you to type that right into the chat box here in Zoom so that we all may hold that and share that with you. If you are in our Facebook community or our YouTube community, we invite you as well. If you're referring to someone else, please don't use their last name just to protect their own privacy. And as some of us are moved to have our fingers type and share, collectively, we hold several things together this week. This month is Asian American and Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And we celebrate the rich and varied contributions to the culture of this country. And we celebrate, even as we grieve, the terrifying rise in hateful rhetoric and physical violence against Asian Americans, Native Hawaiian Americans, and Pacific Islander Americans. If you would like to celebrate this community, these communities, just type let's do the number 1 in the comment box, just number 1 right in the comment box. This month, we also become part of the collective call for awareness and action on the mostly ignored pandemic of missing and murdered Indigenous girls, teens, women, and Two-Spirit persons. Indigenous women and girls are murdered 10 times at a rate 10 times higher than all other ethnicities. And so this month, we collectively call this to our awareness, even as we act for change and attention. Within our own community, we have our beloveds who need extra prayers or thoughts, just need to be remembered with love on this morning. And so we lift up Glenda R., Nellie Ann R., Pat M., Bev H., Robin G., Al G., Sam N., Bill N., and Sam Z. And so, for all that has been shared, for all that we're holding in that sacred silence of our own hearts, and for all those people who have no one to remember them on this morning, no one to speak their name with tenderness or care, we light this, our candle of community. By our remembering, may we and they be blessed. A second candle burns for the staggering number of 3.28 million citizens of the world who have lost their lives in this pandemic. And so our trinity of flames burn, our chalice, our candle of community, and our candle of awareness of loss of life. And in this light, we join our hearts, our minds, and yes, our voices with our call to meditation, Spirit of Life, Fuente de Amor.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Fuente de amor, ven hacia mí y al corazón cántale tu compasión. Sopla al volar, sube en la mar, hasta moldear la justicia de la vida. Arraígame, libérame, fuente de amor, ven a mí, ven a mí.
And as we are held by that spirit of life, that fountain of love, Fuente de Amor, we acknowledge today as Mother's Day, which for some of us is a joyful day, and we truly want to acknowledge that celebration. But for some of us, it is a difficult day for many reasons, including death, absence, separation because of the pandemic, abuse, estrangement. And for some of us, we are grieving the prenatal loss of a child, or the loss of a child or children in childhood, in their teen years, or as an adult. We especially hold this morning 3 mothers in our hearts, Marty, Lynn, and Ida. And so we enter into silence together, allowing each of us to feel and respond to whatever moves in our heart and mind on this Mother's Day.
I remember that August 1963, 200,000 marched on our TV. The moment was magic with dreams in the air. My mom watched in wonder and said, I wish I was there. But there were babies to diaper and a whole house to clean. She watched the world change on that black and white screen. She was one in a million. she played her small part. She carried that banner high in her heart. Always carried that banner high in her heart. And she taught me the Bible, every chapter and verse, how the meek shall inherit and the last shall be first. She said God leaves God's work to me and to you. When you're meek and you're ready, what will you do? And though she never traveled far from her front door, she watched the world change in the children she bore. She said, you are one in a million, you each have your part. You must carry that banner high in your heart. Always carry that banner high in your heart. And those children she scattered like ships on the sea, each mounting adventures she couldn't foresee. I never once doubted what she said was true. I've seen miracles mounting, small victories counting. I can't help recounting the things that we do. Now each Mother's Day Sunday I look to the chair. Now it's 15 years empty, but I still feel her there. So this year I traveled as her eldest son to Washington March because she couldn't come. And I marched to the future in a million moms see. I was marching for her, I was marching for me. I was one in a million playing my part, and I carried that banner high in my heart. I was one in a million playing my part, and I carried that banner in an elegant manner. I carried her banner high in my heart.
Hello again, friends. Normally, the offering for our church is at the end of our service. Today, we will do our collection a little early because of our flower communion. On the second Sunday of each month, we hold a special offering for a social group, organization, or individual that is in alignment with our Unitarian Universalist values. This Sunday, we are pleased to welcome D'Angelique Jackson, Alexandra Alvarado, and Marcia Woodruff from our social partner, Faith in Fresno, for our social justice partner, Faith in Fresno. They will share briefly their important interfaith social justice advocacy on behalf of over 120 different faith communities in the Central Valley.
Hi, my name is D'Angelique Jackson. I currently serve as a community organizer for Faith in the Valley. My focus areas in organizing include voter participation and registration, as well as combating police brutality.
Hello, my name is Alexandra Alvarado. I am a community organizer with Faith in the Valley in Fresno, working on housing justice. Many of us call Fresno and the Central Valley our home. It is where our families have settled, and it is where they've dreamt big dreams and big opportunities for future generations to come. In the most recent years, families, children, veterans, seniors, and so many others have been finding themselves disproportionately pushed out of their homes. The Central Valley in Fresno is no longer affordable, especially for our most vulnerable populations. While we know that there isn't just one solution or one policy change that can balance the scales of this injustice, at Faith in the Valley, we do have a vision and framework that can create the change that we need here for every Central Valley resident to have a safe, accessible, and permanently affordable place to call home. We believe that with this vision and framework, alongside faith leaders, alongside those who are most affected, and tenant leaders, that this can be a possible dream. Thank you.
And my name is Marcia Woodruff. I am an organizer with Faith in the Valley and blessed to work alongside of Alexandra and D'Angelique as we train leaders in the community, impacted people in the community, and faith-based institutions to make the change that we deem and see as necessary for the transformation of society. Thank you, UU.
If you would like to help support the work of Faith in Fresno, there are several ways you can make your offering, including Cash App, PayPal, credit card, text, or good old-fashioned snail mail. A slide will appear with all the information in just a moment. But first, in the spirit of grateful generosity, will you join with me in saying our words of offering? If not us, then who? If not open hearts, then what? If not now, then when? If not here, then where? If not generously, then how? If not us, then who? This morning's offering will now be gratefully received. Thank you for saying yes to this organization and their work of building a more just and accessible Central Valley.
Muchas gracias for your generosity. Danny and I were talking earlier in the week, and we both admitted that we get very excited, and I'll own the word giddy, as Flower Communion Sunday approaches, because for many of us as Unitarian Universalists, it's an important Sunday. It captures in so many ways and in a very visual way the truths that we try to live through our Unitarian Universalist faith. So welcome to Flower Communion Sunday and our ritual. On this Mother's Day, we'd like to share special history that's important to Unitarian Universalists all around this world. We're going to share a story that is true. And as many of you know, I geek out over Unitarian Universalist history. So I love hearing this story. It's a story about a brave woman and a brave man who had an idea about how to celebrate the beauty that's inside each one of us, inside each and every human being, and also the beauty that is all around us, the beauty that is this world. It is a story of how, at a time of tension and division, not unlike tension and division of today, that people chose to come together. It's the story of how and why the Unitarian Universalist Flower Communion was created. If we don't have a flower with us this morning, we still have time to go outside and get a flower, maybe borrow one from a neighbor's backyard. You could find a plant or an artificial flower inside, or draw a quick picture of a flower, and flowers grown only in our imagination are also welcome in our Flower Communion. Now, we first shared the video that we're going to see in just a moment. We shared it last year for our first pandemic Flower Communion celebration. And this was near the beginning of the pandemic, and it was right before our country erupted into cries for racial reckoning. Our story last year and this year is told by beloved elders in our church, as well as beloved new generation of leaders, Linda, Sam, Karen, and Troy. Now, one thing to remember as we're listening, when it was recorded last year, Sam was 97 years old, and the Flower Communion was 97 years old. This year, Sam is 98, and the Flower Communion is 98 years old. even though the video from last year will mention 97. Now, I know some of us, when we hear words that are traditionally religious, for some of us that might cause a little pain in our heart and even a desire to recoil. So for some of us, hearing the word communion can be hard or off-putting. I want to give us a reframe. Communion is a word that means sharing. Sharing. And our story is about sharing. So let our story begin.
From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. De ti yo recibo, a ti te doy, así compartimos y vivimos hoy.
Norbert Chapek was born in 1870 in a country far, far away from here called Czechoslovakia. Norbert's family was too poor to send him to school, so they sent him to live with his uncle in Vienna, Austria. Norbert's uncle was a tailor, and Norbert worked as his assistant. In this way, Norbert was able to earn money to pay for school.
Norbert liked to learn. In school, he learned about science and psychology, and he asked many questions about spirituality. Too many questions, oh yes, too many questions. Questions that challenged the faith in which he was being raised. Norbert asked, why does one person get to be in charge of the whole church and speak as the voice of God? And if there is a God, why do we need someone to talk to God for us? And why can't we do it for ourselves? And why are only men allowed to be priests? Why are only the men in charge? What about the women? And why can't I find a church that celebrates our differences instead of trying to make us all the same?
Norbert's uncle did not like that his nephew asked questions. He felt that was dangerous. He said, if you want to make it in the world, then you better keep your mouth shut and your mind closed. In some ways, the time and place Norbert lived wasn't that all that different from what we know now, especially here in Fresno in the Central Valley. Some people don't like it if you ask questions. They don't like it if you question authority. They don't like it if you choose a way to be religious that is different from everyone else.
From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live.
When Norbert grew into an adult, he still hadn't figured out how to be spiritual in a way that felt authentic. He was struggling how to be true to himself, but also to be true to a religious tradition.
Hi, I'm Norbert C., and I'm wrestling with what I think and feel about religion. Then one day, while reading newspapers in the library, I noticed a woman also reading newspapers in the library. Somehow I know I need to meet her. I take a chance, and I introduce myself to her. Hi, I'm Norbert Chapter.
Hi, Norbert. It's nice to meet you. I'm Maya Veronica Octavek.
As we talk together in the library, I realize that Maya is an educated and fascinating woman. I take a risk and share with her my spiritual struggles. She tells me,
Norbert, it isn't as complicated as you feel it is. I think you are a Unitarian.
What's a Unitarian?
Unitarians respect each person's own individual spiritual search for truth and meaning, while also believing that they are responsible for working together, helping to heal the world. Unitarians love inclusively, grow spiritually, serve gratefully, and work for justice. It is a religion that teaches you don't need to believe alike, to love alike.
Well, if that's what it means to be a Unitarian, then sign me up.
From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this
Norbert and Maya fell in love and got married. Soon after, they decide to take a risk for their new religion. Norbert and Maya decide they want to become Unitarian ministers. They go to school and study hard, and after several years and a lot of work, they are ordained. Maya and Norbert were officially Unitarian ministers, Reverend Maya and Reverend Norbert. At that time, 100 years ago, there were very few female Unitarian ministers. Maya was a trailblazer and a pioneer. She was helping to break a glass ceiling.
In 1921, in the city of Prague, Czechoslovakia, Maya and Norbert start a Unitarian church together. People from many religious backgrounds come to their new church. Many of them are frustrated with the teachings of their former religion.
They come because they want to be part of a church that teaches religious values that they can believe in. They want a spirituality that feels authentic. They want to be a part of a spiritual community because they don't want to face the world alone.
It is now 3 years after the end of World War I, a terrible time that destroyed many lives. Norbert and I want to do something special to bring people together and remind them that there is beauty and hope in the world.
One day, I look outside my church office window and I see the flowers growing in my garden. And I say, Maya, those flowers remind me of beauty and hope.
I think you're onto something, Norbert. In the ugliness of oppression, flowers celebrate the eternal hope of freedom. In the face of cruelty, they speak of courage and hope. In the meadow, they speak of freedom, creating patterns wild and breathtaking that no gardener can match. In their indescribable beauty, they remind us that we live always in the face of ineffable mystery. In their reappearance each year, they remind us that in spite of every hardship, life goes on.
And so together, we create the Flower Communion.
We ask everyone to bring a flower with them to church. Everybody places their flower in a vase. Placing the flower in the vase represents that each person comes to church of their own free will. The children then carry the vase to the front of the church, and the congregation blesses the flowers together. After the service, as people leave the church, they go to the vase and each take a flower, different than the one that they had brought with them when they arrived. People asked us, what did this flower communion mean?
No two flowers are the same. Together, the many different flowers form a beautiful bouquet. This bouquet would not be the same without each individual flower.
So it is with us. Our church would not be the same without each and every one of us. No matter how different we may be, we are all beautiful in God's eyes, for we are all part of the great bouquet of creation. We are all, in the end, different and one and beautiful.
We introduced the Flower Communion 97 years ago on June 4th, 1923.
97 years ago? That's a lot of years. Do you know that I was born in 1923 and I'm also 97 years old? What a gift to be alive for so many years, through so many changes. The flower communion has existed as long as I've been alive. One of the many things I've learned over all those years is summed up in these words, a favorite Unitarian chant of ours. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. Let's chant this together with Lorenzo.
From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. De ti yo recibo, a ti te doy, así compartimos y vivimos hoy.
The people in Maya and Norbert Chapek's church liked the flower communion and the caring community it represented. Their church in Czechoslovakia became the largest Unitarian church in the world with over 3,000 members. But something happened that threatened flower communion. Adolf Hitler and the Nazis took control of Czechoslovakia. Maya and Norbert's church was considered dangerous by the Nazis, who controlled people and even got rid of people who they thought were different.
The Nazis did not want a church like the Chapeks. They did not want Unitarians. They did not want a flower communion that celebrated differences. They did not want Maya and Norbert Chapek preaching the loving Unitarian message that all people were born with inherent worth and dignity. They did not want them teaching that we're all connected and responsible for each other and the earth home we all share. Maya and Norbert knew that the people were frightened. Many among the congregation were threatened or beaten or taken from their homes and put into prison. Some Unitarians had their houses or businesses robbed, shut down, or burned by the Nazi soldiers. Others worried that they too would be the next to be disappeared.
The Chapeks were regularly questioned by the Gestapo, the scary Nazi special police force. They demanded that Maya and Norbert not speak out against the Nazis. Although they didn't speak out against Nazis on Sunday mornings during their sermons, Maya and Norbert formed a resistance team that met secretly at the church and helped people escape from the Nazis. But finally, Maya and Norbert couldn't remain silent. In the spring of 1941, Maya and Norbert declared,
"We can bear it no longer."
We must speak the truth and not be cowards. I will challenge the Nazis by using my Sunday morning sermon to contradict the hateful speech Adolf Hitler gave this week. It was full of cruelty and lies.
"5 days later, the Gestapo come to our house. The Nazis arrest Norbert. Because of his sermon, the Nazis say it is too dangerous for Norbert Chapek to be allowed to live. He is sent to a terrible place called Dachau, a concentration camp. On his papers are stamped the fatal instructions. Chapek's return is unwanted.
While in Dachau, Norbert introduced the prisoners to the Unitarian flower communion. Each prisoner brought what flowers they could find in the concentration camp to a special service. At the end of the service, the prisoners left with a flower different than the one they brought, one brought by one of their fellow prisoners to symbolize their sense of community. The prisoners were strengthened by Norbert's words and inspired by the inclusive Unitarian flower communion that was open to anyone, no matter their religion. They liked that the simple ritual reminded them that there was still beauty and goodness in the world. The prisoners in Dachau felt part of a community despite the isolating and horrific circumstances of the camp.
After the war, survivors testified that the Unitarian minister could not have been sent to a place where he was more needed. Norbert brought hope and resilience to the Jewish, Christian, Unitarian, Gypsy, lesbian, gay, and transgender prisoners in Dachau. But because he was now over 70 years old, Norbert was transported with other older prisoners to the part of the camp where cruel medical experiments were being conducted. This was the last thing Norbert wrote to his beloved wife Maya before he died.
The goal of religion is to create strong, confident, active, creative, loving persons who are happy with themselves and with nature, humanity, and the spirit of life.
When news of his death reached the United States, the American Unitarian Association president, Frederick May Elliott, wrote, "Another name is added to the list of heroic Unitarian martyrs, by whose death our freedom has been bought. Ours is now the responsibility to see to it that we stand fast in liberty."
I flee for my life. I come to the United States as an immigrant and a refugee. I ask this country to offer me sanctuary. As should always be the case in the United States of America, I am welcomed with open and understanding arms. Because I am allowed to enter this country, I am able to offer the unique gift that I was also bringing with me from our congregation in Prague. I bring the flower communion to America. I first introduced it to the Unitarian Church in Cambridge, Massachusetts, but soon I began to share the flower communion ritual all across the country. I share it because I believe. The hardest times and the most dire moments are not strong enough to rob us of our capacity to share love. Not even death can take from us the love that is exchanged between people. It is with us as long as we have love to offer. It is with us whenever we are open to receiving love from others. By offering what we can, by making room to receive the offerings of others, we carry with us the hope for the future.
Maya and Norbert and their Unitarian Church wanted people to have hope for the future. They wanted us to remember that we need not believe alike to love alike, and that we must bring more love into the world. If not us, then who? May it be so.
From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. That io recibo a ti te do, así compartimos y vivimos hoy.
Thank you to our flower communion players, Linda, Sam, Karen, and Troy. You know, as I listened to that story yet again, at one point I was listening to the words, but I was able to scroll through the camera and see all the folks here in Zoom who were listening to that story, and to see your beautiful faces, those beautiful faces that Norbert and Maya celebrated 98 years ago. And there was a moment that really brought tears to my eyes. I think some of you may have seen it. And so we were hearing about the love of these two people, Maya and Norbert, that they had for each other, but also for all of humanity. I sat and watched Pat and George just holding hands on the couch. And it just was such a moment of tenderness and joy. And I think that's what is at the heart of our flower communion. So now that we've heard the story, let's share the timeless message of Maya and Norbert's flower communion. In pre-pandemic times, we would now invite everybody to come forward to the chancel where our children would hold baskets filled with flowers that we had brought to the sanctuary. And then we would choose a blossom different from the one we brought, a flower that called to us from the many flowers collected in the baskets.
Today, we will share and bless our flowers virtually. If we have a flower with us in Zoom room, or if we are watching on Facebook or YouTube, this is the moment for us to hold up that flower. If we don't have a flower, we can grow one right now in our imaginations. Here in the Zoom room, as Lorenzo plays right here, Chloe will spotlight the camera on some of us and our flowers so we can see the beauty of the flowers and the beauty of each other's faces.
Surrounded by the beauty that's in our flowers and the beauty of our faces, we're going to do what Reverends Maya and Norbert Čapek and their congregation did 98 years ago in Prague. We're going to bless these flowers with our love, using words adapted from the blessing that the Čapeks first used so many years ago. Our response for all ages will appear on the screen. Bless these flowers with our love. Que nuestro amor bendiga estas flores. So could we try that together? Bless these flowers with our love. Que nuestro amor bendiga estas flores. And let's try it one more time. Bless these flowers with our love. Que nuestro amor bendiga estas flores.
Let us pray. Infinite Spirit of life, Fuente de amor, God of our own understanding, we ask your blessing on those gathered here today, holding a blossom of beauty and hope. Let each of us be messengers of the community and of love. Together, let us say,
Bless these flowers with our love. Que nuestro amor bendiga estas flores.
May these blossoms remind us that each of us brings our own unique story. Each of us possesses diverse knowledge and of gifts. And together, this bouquet of color and beauty is truly a blessing. Together, let us say,
bless these flowers with our love. Que nuestro amor bendiga estas flores.
May we not let the awareness of another's talents discourage us or weaken our relationship, but may we realize that whatever we can do, great or small, the efforts of all of us are needed to do love's work in this world. Together, one last time, let us say,
bless these flowers with our love. Que nuestro amor bendiga estas flores.
May it be so. Blessed be. Amen.
May it be so. Blessed be. Amen. Now, let's join our voices as we sing De Colores.
Campos en la primavera, de colores son los pajaritos que vienen de afuera, de colores es el arco iris que vemos lucir, y por eso los grandes amores, tus muchos colores me gustan a mí. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. All the colors that feels love to wear when the spring starts to breeze in. All the colors the birds dress themselves in for us in this season. All the colors we see in the sky when the rainbow appears. All the colors are bound for the whole world around and for all whom we've known through the years. All the colors are bound for the whole world around and for all whom we've known through the years. De colores se visten los campos en la primavera. De colores son los pajaritos que vienen de afuera. De colores es el arco iris que vemos lucir. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lorenzo. I loved singing that. I love singing it with you. Well, speaking of all the colors and the flowers, I get the great joy right now of sharing about Reverend Tim's Sunday Socks. This is our next to last voting for Sunday Socks. Next week will actually be the last week that we will have this tradition as we prepare to transition back into the sanctuary. But this week it was flower communion related. So we had our rain umbrella socks because we need rain to grow the flowers. Then we had our bee pollinator socks because we need pollinators in order to have our flowers. And then in great, glorious colors, Andy Warhol socks of flowers. The competition was fierce, and one sock could not be proclaimed the winner. So today we have two Sunday socks. We have the pollinators, we have the flowers. These were on my feet until about 2 minutes ago, but let's not forget the rain as well, because we need rain, especially in this drought. The last 15 months has not been a drought for us because we have had the nurturing and inspiration, leadership and joy of Danny as our interim director of lifelong learning. As most of us know, recently Danny's wife Audrey is being transferred at the end of this month to the San Diego area for a wonderful and long sought after opportunity of continuing her training to have an expertise in a specific field of medicine. And we are delighted for Audrey and Danny. We mourn their leaving us. We really do, because we have just been so blessed to have Audrey and Danny and to have Danny's leadership. So if you'd like to be part of the live goodbye to Danny, next Saturday at 12:30 p.m. on the church campus, masked, socially distanced, of course, after our children's program has ended that begins about 11:15. At 12:30, people of all ages are invited to come to celebrate and say goodbye to Danny. It's going to be just a brief ritual and celebration, but it's a chance for us to just say how much Danny has meant to us, and she's really meant us so much. And I'm going to start to cry. She's just meant so much, and I know she's meant so much to the staff and the partnership that I've been able to enjoy with Danny. These last 15 months have been just a high point of my ministerial career. So I'm going to pass you to wonderful Danny, and she has some reminders. But 12:30 Saturday on campus, please join us for that live goodbye. We'll also have a goodbye on a Sunday service on the 23rd, but this is live and in person, and live and in person in Zoom. It's Danny.
Howdy, friends. So I have a couple of reminders for your refrigerator calendars. We have a town hall with Reverend Tin on Monday, May 10th. That's tomorrow at 6 p.m. So we invite you to join us for a spirited Q&A on all church-related things, including our return to the sanctuary. This event is going to be live on our UU Fresno Facebook page. And if you want to submit any questions in advance, you can email me at growspiritually@uufresno.org. And you can also just pop them in the comments box as the live is going on. A link to the recording will be emailed out to the whole congregation just in case you happen to miss it. And also, it is time for the most exciting event of the season. It's the time that everyone waits for. It's time to practice your polity and celebrate your being a member of the congregation. That's right, it's time for the annual meeting. The spring all-congregation meeting is happening Sunday, May 23rd, immediately after the Zoom service ends in the same Zoom link. We need almost 100 members to have the needed quorum, and your RSVP today will help make the day less stressful for your board host. You can RSVP by clicking in the link that Patty just popped in the chat, and I can tell that all of our board members here are nodding their heads vigorously. They really want you to RSVP. So please, please, please make sure you do that for them. And with that, I will pass you back over to Tim.
Thank you, Danny. Well, dear ones, we have come to the end of our service. We have our chalice extinguishing, then closing words, and our sung benediction, and then our social hour. So if you have a candle or a chalice with you, I'm going to invite you to extinguish it as Karen and Troy lead us in our chalice extinguishing words.
Extinguimos esta llama, pero no la luz de la verdad, el calor de comunidad o el fuego de nuestro compromiso. Estos los llevaremos en el corazón. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts.
Amen. Amen. And so let's take our precious hands, the precious hands that had been holding flowers, and now gently place them over the beating human heart. These words of closing come from Unitarian Universalist Eric Williams. Love, el amor. Love is the spirit of this church. May the songs we sing celebrate this love. May the lives we lead embody this spirit. May we all go forth in peace. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen. We're having a little bit of volume. Do you think, Lorenzo, can we put you on the spot to maybe lead a sung benediction for us? Either go in peace. There we go.
May we have safe passage, safe passage. May we have safe passage on our way. Safe passage on our way. Sorry, new words. Safe passage on our way. Sweet pilgrim, safe passage on our way. May we have safe passage. Safe passage. May we have safe passage on our way. Shalom and assalamu alaikum.
Let's hear it for Lorenzo. Just jumped in and filled when the video didn't play. That's so awesome.